Ladies and gentlemen, from wherever you may be in the world, thank you for joining our webinar on sustainable waste management implementation in manufacturing, hosted by Matics Real-Time Operational Analytics for Manufacturing and Tetra Limited. My name is Eli. I will be your moderator for today. Joining me in this discussion are Mr. Ilan Ben-Meir, CEO of Tetra Limited China, and Mr. Asaf Buk, industry expert at Matics. It would not be too much of a stretch to say that today, developing and implementing a game plan for managing operational sustainability in manufacturing is imperative to staying relevant in the industry. Implementing and executing sustainable waste management is crucial for multiple business aspects, from environmental policy compliance to operational efficiency and cost reduction. Two of the latest buzzwords being thrown around a lot by large manufacturers in North America are zero waste and zero landfill. These sustainability terms reflect two interesting operational perspectives. Zero waste is about operational efficiency. It means that as a manufacturer, your process is so well managed that you've managed to completely eliminate or reuse the waste that your process produces. In other words, zero waste means you're operating at peak efficiency. Now, practically speaking, although tremendous innovation and advances were made in the field of material management, the concept of zero waste still eludes us. It is the Northern Star, a guiding ideal for which we continually pursue optimization to achieve. That it's that desire to be the perfect manufacturer. But in the interim, for everyday practicalities or to start taking steps towards this ideal, we have the second concept, zero landfill, and the three material management principles that inform it: reduce, reuse, and recycle. The other important step is to make smarter choices about materials we use in our facilities and how we process them. And that is exactly what sustainable material management is. Of course, the end goal of zero waste is difficult to guarantee and achieve. However, it is the act of striving for zero waste itself that is leading the manufacturing industry to be greener and more cost efficient. Sustainable material management isn't just about being green. It's a money-saving technique that has proven itself time and time again to be a worthwhile investment. For example, the Ellen MacArthur Foundation estimates that if the manufacturing industry were to align with these principles, it would save up to $630 billion a year on raw materials in the EU alone. However, achieving resource efficiency in practice is a monumental challenge. Most manufacturers today still lack sufficient visibility into their operations. The challenge of implementation essentially boils down to an information problem. And this is because holistic operational data and information in manufacturing are oftentimes siloed, scattered, or lacking altogether. To begin overcoming this information gap, it would be easy for me to say to the manufacturer that starts this journey today that they should start working to obtain end-to-end process visibility, to analyze the data, to identify the full spectrum of environmental and operating costs and the correlation between them, to link and analyze the information so it becomes easier to detect potential issues during production. And most importantly, to have a committed leadership team that will use the data to inform and set in place a game plan, such that it chooses measurable and obtainable KPIs. Well, sounds easy enough, right? But honestly, that young manufacturer would probably very fairly ask where to begin. Eli, she'll ask, you are talking about information and linking data, but it's a jungle out there, full of machines, lines, workers, employees, noise. Therefore, with this question in mind, I believe that this is a good point for me to stop and leave it to our experts and launch our discussion. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our first speaker, who is out there in the foxholes every day. Mr. Ilan Ben-Meir oversees all operational strategy implementation and execution in Tetra's mega facility based in China. Mr. Ben Meir, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. How are you today?
Good. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I will start with presenting my presentation. Okay. Just a second, please. Can you see my screen?
In a second.
Yes, a second.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we're good.
Good. So I'm sure that some of you ask, what is the connection between real-time system to sustainability? And so in this meeting, I will try to walk through the story of Tetro in relation to sustainability. This is something that I think it will be very interesting for all of us. So we, for the first time, implemented the real-time system in Tetro in 2009. At that time, when we implemented the system, it was 12 years after a Kyoto Protocol issued, talking about the CO2 emission that 84 countries were signing on it. And very few people understood how big is the risk for our planet. We were part of the people that did not know how risk is for our planet. And when we think about the real-time system at that time, we didn't come from sustainability, we come from other reasons. So first of all, the objective in our reason to go for a real-time system come from reduced manufacturing cost. Something is, you can hear it a lot when you talk about real-time system, talking about optimized resources, utilization, allocation, and planning, and accountable performance metrics. So when we started with the real-time system, we did not think about the problem of the sustainability. It just came after that. We believe that using the RTS correctly will help us to increase our performances and our profitability. So what is actually for us is the system. So besides cost reduction, we found that the real-time system helping to switch from correction to prevention. Like in many cases, you can see in your factory, there is a problem that already came to the surface, and the company start to make investigation, try to understand why things can happen. And the real-time system help us to catch the things in a real time, and by this way, to deal with prevention instead of correction. Also, we go from reactive to proactive idea, that this is something that helps us to control better our facility and our profitability. So we found that the real-time system adding a lot of value for the company. Then we came in 2015 that it was a Paris Agreement. And in the Paris Agreement, we start to have the awareness of sustainability. This was the turning point for Tetro. From this moment, the company switched to look into the sustainability and see how and which tool can help us to build our sustainability. Before going to talk about sustainability, maybe we can talk a few words about Tetro and about myself, okay? So first of all, we can say that Tetro is OEM manufacturer. So we are dealing with manufacture product to other brands. We are dealing with R&D. We are locating in China. We started the business in 2007. We are about 1,200 employees, 150,000 SKUs manufacturing the company, and about 200 engineers and technicians. So we are locating on the 100,000 square meter, which the facility is relatively big. And Tetro is part of a group called Star Group that overall we have 5,000 employees and 8 factories. By this, we can understand that this is a big issue in terms of sustainability because we are manufacturing a lot and our influence on the environment is relatively big. So this is a kind of product that we are making. We are doing full products. We are not making just components. Our product include a few disciplines like can be plastic, metal, electronics, and so on. And we do everything in-house. Tetro is a fully vertical integrated company that do 90% of the component in-house. So the meaning that for the manufacturing, the question of sustainability is a big question. Our location is in few places. We have in China and Hong Kong. We are sitting in Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, and in Germany. We are offices. And in such places, we have development offices working close to the customers. So when we are talking about sustainability, we are mainly meaning about CO2 reduction. The CO2 emission is the issue about sustainability, but not the only issue. But in this webinar, we'll try to deal with the CO2 emission. And then the question is, what next? How we go from here? We need to know how the CO2 is being measured. Okay, so when we talk about CO2, we need to know how to measure it. How I know if my emission is big or small. Okay, so therefore we started to build a sustainability program in Tetro. This sustainability program included R&D team plus awareness program that we need to make sure that all the people aware of the problem of the emission, because we are talking about many companies or many people around us. They are very much don't believe that something going to happen in the world. They still continue to emit CO2 and say, okay, nothing will happen. And they need to build this awareness. And we found that our Matics RTS system can be a tool for us to start to build everything around, to control all the measuring of the carbon footprint for our production, our processing. And this is something that we'll get into detail in a minute. In order to show how the awareness is so big, each material in the world today is classified based on the material carbon footprint. You can see, for example, that plastic materials, if you go to buy plastic material from a branded company, they can tell you how much carbon footprint, how much carbon emission you have per kilogram of material. For example, if you talk, for example, polypropylene emit in the creating 1 kilogram of polypropylene, we create emission of 1.9 to 3.1 kilogram of CO2, which is amazing number. When you talk about nylon 6, for example, it's come to 9. If you talk about some other materials, you can get a list. In the sustainability today, the companies must share how much emission they have for each material. So for us, when we buy the material, we understand how much CO2 signature has the material we are buying. But what about the processing? The processing is something we do in-house. How to measure the CO2 emission in our processing, how to understand, how to count, how to follow, how to compare. So all this, it's a very, very big challenge. And this is talking about data, and we talk about data and analytics, and without talking about decision making. This is something that is big topic to deal with. So in general, each company need to specify for itself the needs. The meaning, like, cannot compare Tetro to another company because Tetro is a vertical integrated company that make everything in-house. But there are some companies that making injection of plastic only. So this is a different needs that company need to address. And one of the good things about the real-time system that we are experiencing, which is done by Matics, is the system is open. When the system is open, you can create many features and you can create many algorithms inside the system that can support your plan. So first of all, every company need to specify the needs, and then consulting with Matics can build something which is more fit to the company. So the challenge is about dealing with data. So if we talk about data, let's see what involved in analyzing the carbon footprint. So first of all, we need to connect machines to the system. Once we connect the machine to the system, we decide which signal, which data we can have into the Matics, into the real-time system. And after that, we can also decide to use some energy meter, current meter in the machine, and to take it also into the system, to the Matics system. We can count rejection rate, we can count cycle time. When we talk about energy consumption, we talk directly about CO2, because this is very strong correlation. If machine is not efficient, if the process is not efficient, and you can follow the results and you can compare it to some historical data, and for this we need to have historical data to collect it. You need to compare to something. If you say that you are going to reduce your carbon footprint, so you're going to reduce it comparing it to what? To which company, to whom? First of all, you need to compare it to yourself, and you need to have historical data. By this way, you need to have the system early enough to build it and start to collect the data and build a database. Then, for sure, you can also have the performance analysis from the system. You can see which machine is more efficient, how you can move. In case of injection or metal, you move tools from machine that is consume more energy to machine that consume less energy. Maybe you can buy material with high flow characteristics relative to low flow characteristic, and you can get less energy consumption. All these things you can only see through the system. The system is like an eyes, is like a sense, sixth sense for us to know what's going inside the process. Okay. Then we can also have a sustainability metrics. We can create algorithm that can correlate or translate the energy consumption to direct it to the CO2 emission. And we can see by how much we can reduce by changing something in the process. And this is something we are doing in Tetro, and we can see the results quite immediately. One of the good things about the system, the real-time system that we are talking, is that by adjust the system to the need of each company, you can create an algorithm that can help you to get conclusions about what you need to change in the process. Data by itself is not enough. Data need to be analyzed. If there's no people to sit and analyze the data, it's a problem. The system can help you analyze the data, even if you are not a professional in injection, even you are not professional in the fields of the company, what the company is manufacturing. One of the good things about the system is that if you are CEO or you're CTO or you're sitting somewhere in top of the pyramid, no more stories. No more stories. The screen with all the data come to you. You can see clear analytics, and this analytics helps a lot in understanding where we are in the performance, in the CO2 emission. And this is something very, very important. Then, of course, you start to work. This is our experience. We did not come to the final system immediately. It took some time to try and error, and then you can adjust the algorithm in case you don't have the system in your company yet, and you're going to have it. You need to know that is a long way. You need to have the people that help to give a feedback and work directly and very tight with Matics company and get help and get support and build and adjust the algorithm. And after that, when you come to some results, you can create the program for the next year to adjust the carbon footprint metrics in order to improve again and again and again and again. This is something that is very, very important. So I like to share 2 stories with you about my experience with my people. One story is related to buying new machines. And I want to show how the system, how the real-time system help us to make a decision. The injection factory manager came to me one day. He said that he liked to buy a new machine because we have forecast for increase the production. And because of this, we need to buy more machines. And he brought me few quotations from few companies and asked me, Ilan, what we are going to decide. And we have a big deviation between the quotations. And according to what, we're going to decide which machine to buy. Based on the price, based on performances. How I know performances? I need some system to help me. Based on the CO2 emission, how I know? Today in the world, the customers very much appreciate that their supplier will use the system in order to control the CO2 emission. But how I can do it without a system that helps me? And this is a big issue. But with the real-time system, we had a very good way to know it. Okay, and then the energy consumption is a key factor in measuring sustainability. Okay, so which machine we should purchase? The left one or the right one? I didn't put the logo of the companies, but based on the color, I believe that most of you know which machine we are talking about. But which machine to choose? We don't know based on the color. So let's see what the real-time system do for us. So we have historical data, as we said, and we have the same mold running on 3 different machines of the 3 different suppliers. And we can see that the optimal cycle time with 3 different machines, the same mold, have difference. Deviation is not big. The lower one is 43.6 seconds. The higher one is 45.2. It still is 2 seconds, is about 5%. 5%, the meaning is 5% utilization. That if you have a 5% low in cycle time, you can have 5% low space, 5% less machine, and so on. When we come to the cycle time, okay, but what about energy consumption? So let's see what the same machine gives when we talk about energy consumption. We can see that one machine, the consumption is by far lower than the other machine. We can see, for example, the red color represents the utilization loss. The blue represents the energy consumption. We can see that machine A15, that is cycle time is 43.6, also consume less energy for the same mold than machine A17, that the cycle time is also higher. So it's not only that the cycle time is higher, we also get that the energy consumption is higher. But let's see what's happening with the yellow color when the rejection rate. When you go to A19, we see that the rejection rate is going down. So here we have a table that accumulates all the information, all the data, and we can see, for example, that machine from some supplier that let's say that is a John Wei from Taiwan. I don't know if you know this company. We see that is a Taiwanese company. The machine is half price from DMAG, cycle time is lower, okay? So, and we see that in this case, the utilization is higher, and we see that even the maintenance downtime is lower. This comes from the system, it's not typing mistake. We can see from the other end, we can see that the rejection rate is 1.15% compared to as 1% or 0.5%. The idea is that you can take this data, you can put it on a ROI model, and then you can start to come to conclusion which machine to buy. But beside the idea of a decision which machine to buy, you have a very clear message about the saving of energy, saving of waste. And by this way, you can make a planning for reducing the waste and the energy, and by this way to have less emission. This is just one example, okay? But we can see here that we have all the factors that we can see, all the numbers, and we can analyze it. I'm not going into what Teto did with these numbers, but I just show you what you can do with these numbers, okay? Another example, also a very interesting example, that the factory manager in the injection came to me one day, say, Ilan, we need to give bonus to our technician because they are working 100% in the cycle time. They're working 104% in the cycle time. We all know that there's no something like this 100% efficiency. There's no way. If you have 100% efficiency, the meaning is that the setup point was higher in advance. If you, as someone that understands statistics, you are sitting in a top position in the company, or you sit in any position in the company, understand that this cannot be that there is 100%. What you can do, you can reduce the standard cycle time to a lower number and see what's happened. The meaning you, in this case, you could pay bonus that we no need to pay, because if the setup was set to be higher than what the theoretical number should be, then in this case, you are paying extra money for something no need. But by looking at it at the cycle time and performances, you also understand that you have a room to reduce the standard, to reduce the cycle time, and by this way, you can also save energy. So when we come to the virtual world, that we need to decide about ERP system, real-time system, which software to buy, the ROI model become a little bit complicated. How you can convince the ROI of a real-time system, okay? So, and this is something that we need to think. What kind of model of ROI we should submit to our board? Like if I have a board of director, I want to invest in real-time system. The investment is not small, because it's not only how much you're going to pay for the real time, it's also how many people you're going to recruit. You need to build a team. The team should be stable. They cannot leave. You need them to be all the time with you, and the system should go through some cultural change. This cultural change is very essential for the company. If someone expects that he will buy the real-time system no matter from where and everything will be okay, it's wrong, it's a mistake, don't go for it. But if you like to go and you like to make improvement, you need to understand what are the meaning of getting the real-time system. And what I can say that the ROI model should not be the regular ROI model that you know from see direct saving, okay? Why? Because sustainability is no longer a matter of saving only, but also a matter of life and existence. How you can put in the model of the ROI model, the meaning of life, emission, people dying, cancer, is not something that in the future you will not be able to sell products anymore if you will not follow the sustainability rules. we got from our customers notification that in the coming 3 years, we must move to everything to be sustainable, otherwise they will not buy our product. And we start in 2015 to change our mindset. We had the system before, and we found ourselves very much ready for this task, this mission. Our customers were very pleased with the implementation of sustainable plan of Tetro. And for them, it's something that is very big value, because they need to show their customer that they are working with supply chain that follow sustainability rules. It's also very much connected to Industry 4.0, because once you start to work with a system that control all the manufacturing, the meaning you start to go to machine learning, start to go to algorithms, start to go for data analytics, and this is something that very much connected to Industry 4.0. And the outcome is that our sales increase dramatically. This is something that it's a fact that Tetro every year grow in double digit, at least 25 to 26% every year. This is thanks to the customer that trust us, believe us in what we are doing for them in terms of the service, but also in terms of the sustainability. Which ROI model can deal with this advantage? No ROI model. What we need is just to do it, implement the real-time system, and I can tell you that we could not do it without the real-time system. How we can check where we are? How we can check the emission? We cannot disclose all the things that we did in Tetro, because some of it belong to our know-how, but thanks to Matics, we could work together, to build the algorithms and get the data that help us to make a decision. Talking about some conclusions, I can tell you that real-time system is no more luxury. Every company must have it. I don't say that you must buy Matics. I very much happy with Matics, but you should find a company that really can give you a full coverage of your needs. It's not easy. It's a kind of a marriage. It's like to select ERP. You cannot change the ERP every day. Once you select the company you're going with, then it's very difficult to change after that. People need to get used of the system, of the screens, of all the features, and no more luxury. It's must. This is something that in Tetro, we implement it everywhere, not only in the plastic, in the metal, in the assembly, every place we can connect the system in order to see what is the consumption we are doing. And this is a big change that we did in Tetro in the last few years. We can say for sure that RTS is essential for developing and implementing sustainability program. If you want to have some program, that how to execute the program, or how to follow by Excel, to do it by Excel, by ERP, no way. There's no way to do it by ERP unless there is some special ERP that already have a good connectivity to machines, can analyze energy consumption, and this I know that even SAP, they don't have it. And going from reactive to proactive is something that give in our hand the decision to do things, to change, not to be passive, to be active, to move. Eyes into the production. Many situation managers, top management get stories about why the container not left on time, why there is a rejection problem, why the machine is not working. No stories. The system help to see and to give you full analytics of all the problems. I have plenty of examples to show how the real-time system help us to make a decision and to improve ourselves. And this is something that I will be happy to share in the future. We see this, for us, it's like a mission, life mission, to promote the idea of the real-time system. I'm not talking about specific company, okay? And of course, leverage to drive results, and this is something very important. We in Tetro feel very much committed to this move for sustainability, and although we are OEM that regularly get, or in general get the instruction from customers to follow the rules, we initiate this move much before they ask us. And I also recommend, no matter what is your company doing, don't wait for the customer to come and tell you, oh, move to the sustainability. Start, take action now. It's very important for your business. It's very important for our planet, okay? We in Tetro put a lot of efforts in development of lightweight materials. We deal with developing the materials by ourselves and low emission, and working with a lot of recyclable and reusable materials. Social sustainability, responsibility for the society, and this is something that is also we participate in Tetro, and we take care of our environment, the place we are living, the environment, and we are proud of doing this. And this is a very short presentation about what we are doing in Tetro. As I said, that we see it as a life mission for us, and we will be happy to help each one of you. Just communicate with us or communicate with Matics, and through Matics communicate with us, and we will help to share as much as we can in order to help you to go through this experience and also to change your company. Thank you.
Ilan, thank you so much for the brilliant insight and the unique perspective. I see that
Ilan, thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
I see that you've already conjured up some questions in the chat, but we'll address them in a bit. Coming up, to take it forward and to continue the talk about sustainable material management through technological innovation, it's my great pleasure to invite our next speaker for today's webinar, Mr. Asaf Buk, Matics' resident Industry 4.0 expert. Asaf, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Eli. I must say that I totally relate with the fundamental things that Ilan has mentioned, but I would like to shed some light on tools and being pragmatic, right? So in terms of shedding some light, we need to understand first the basic core essence of the Industry 4.0. So by definition, in a sentence, transformation is to create a learning, agile organization capable of continuously adapting and changing conditions. And this is by the way, by the Architect. Architect is a German foundation, pioneer of Industry 4.0. So taking a look at the pillars that Ilan mentioned, of course, productivity is an issue, which is connected directly to sustainability in terms of energy consumption, material waste, and material recycling. Taking a look at the world today in terms of cost of energy going up, supply chain issues, everything is connected to everything in a world that changes all the time, and of course, profit. So by adapting real-time technologies to all the stakeholders, and we mean all stakeholders, you can solve problems when they still matter. Data is king, Ilan, of course, okay? The ones that are running with Excel, going with papers, they don't have the ability to track, they don't have the visibility, they don't have the ability to get insights in real time, and they don't have the ability to collaborate. And of course, call to action, being proactive, as Ilan mentioned, and this is key, okay, from reactive to proactive. As the challenge, we understand the challenges. The solution is to adapt real-time technologies so you can shorten the latency between an event occurring and the result. So event to visibility, step one, visibility to analysis, analysis to action, and action to result. And this one is by the Acatech Institute as well. So in terms of, let's say, maturity, you need to think where you are, okay? In terms of going digital and transforming, there are 6 stages. The first one is to have computerization system. The second one is connectivity, machine connectivity. The third one is visibility. Only once you have full visibility, you can share it and create an organizational transparency. And this is key. Only when you get to stage 4, you can go predictive and out of the line, okay, is going full adoption. Most of and think about yourself as a manufacturer, where are you located at, okay, in what stage? I can tell you that by meeting a lot of different organizations, most of them are somewhere between 1 to 3 and did not leap. Typical use cases, as we know them, except OE live management, which is very important. Everything needs to be in context, in the production journey. That means products and molds and the recipe and the ability to create a full digital twin that shows the real time, the real life on the production floor. Material management, energy management, quick response in terms of maintenance and remote management, collaboration. These are the most important use cases. So the foundation for transformation, of course, ability is enabled by continuously aggregating data, collecting data, and then you can extract knowledge, provide real-time insight, and call to action. So the foundation, connectivity, visibility, continuous analysis and insights. No shift looks like the previous one or the one that will come after. Everything is dynamic. The next points are very important for us, and I think it changes. And you know, Ilan mentioned that there's a organizational and cultural change, and this is key to collaborate and communicate, to have a notification and information and call to action, to have automation, procedures and tasks in terms of knowledge capturing, in terms of having the ability to create a workflow, a procedure, and automation that will push the right information to the hands of the right people at the right time. This is key in going full proactive. So, of course, we've got information flowing from machines and from central systems and peripheral systems, and of course information systems and teams. They provide a lot of valuable information. So RTOI as a concept, okay, combines analytics with work management tools. We collect the data, we analyze the data, we visualize the data, we provide collaboration and personalized notification, and then we've got task management and process automation. It's not enough to have data, not enough to be aware. You need to manage. You need to create a task, you need to follow, you need to create an automation that will say, okay, the task is created because something happened within the process, within the production process. I'm gonna focus on work management tools in terms of call to action and automation. Of course, we agree that visibility 24/7 is key. You cannot do without it. And under the concept of winning the shift day in, day out, you need to go into the shift, understand where the shift goes, how the evolution of the shift looks like, and react to that. just a few examples just to see. In work management tools, the first thing that we see which has great value is structured internal communication, replacing the instant messaging tool, which is not knowledge. Okay, it's instant messaging. You cannot work with it. It's not data. It's not something that you can analyze. So a machine-based communication channel in a non-hierarchical way with a traceable communication between the stakeholders, and of course everything is tagged, and provides you the ability, the first step of collaboration. Actionable tasks and automation is you transform an issue to a task, and the task is being shared and cross-platformed, and you can see a Kanban, and you can see a workload, and you can see if you're on time or delayed. And this is, by the way, something that Tetro works wonderfully, and capture your knowledge with routines, and then automatically trigger routines with events or multi-conditional events. That means that we're not providing a lot of information, and notifications for nothing. We provide exactly the call to action which is needed on this point of time. And coming back a bit to the ability to follow to act in the sustainability issue. In this use case, okay, like Ilan's, the objective, of course, is always to produce high quality product, reduce material and energy consumption. This is key. For that, you need tools, and you need good tools. So in terms of build, okay, we talked about a data model, okay? You need to build your data model. You need to know your products and job recipes in terms of materials, in terms of energy. You need to monitor, and this is the period of time that Ilan mentioned. You need to benchmark to see the behavior of your machines to collect data over time and analyze. You need to define your energy consumption model. What will be the kilowatt hour per kilogram? Okay, what will be your standard? And then compare it. And then you run and monitor the actual energy consumption regards the model, and of course quality and quality control checks. And then there's a learning curve in terms of finding the best balance between machine production parameters, energy, and quality. Material consumption in our life, in our system, first you manage your recipe, and then you can enforce the recycled material policy. It's not enough, to have a policy. You need to enforce it, and you need to check the results of introducing recycled material. And many times, although the policy stands, results show that different suppliers, different recycled material suppliers have different quality of the material or various kinds of use cases. So you need to track it. You monitor your actual consumption by integrating your dosing system, and then you compare the actual versus the standard in real time in terms of material. Material overconsumption will indicate a problem. You can find it in extrusion, you can find it in blow molding. Set points, okay, that are set, that are not visible, and then you cannot act. Once you can understand, capture, and react, you reduce it, okay? You stay at your standard. In terms of energy consumption, you monitor your energy consumption in real time. More than that, you manage your energy as a raw material. If we're talking about the main costs, raw material, energy and labor, right? You add the energy as a raw material. You can calculate it, you can capture it in real time as actual, you can send it back for costing, and gives you a very good picture where you're at. And of course, monitor your kilowatt hour or kilowatt kilogram in real time, and of course get smart notification. When energy consumption goes out of the range, out of the limits with a non-constant behavior, that means that something is not working well. And this is exactly the point in terms of energy consumption profile. This is exactly the point to act in real time. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Asaf. Brilliant, very educational. And thank you again, Ilan, for taking the time for the fascinating insight. And that's it. That wraps up another episode in our online series discussing innovation in manufacturing. Thank you all for joining us today. The recordings of this session will be sent to all attendees over email. And we look forward to seeing you in our next webinar. Take care.